Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 21, The Dynasty of Bharata, text number 19. So the projector is not working, so there will be no projection. Try to follow as much as you can. I'll first chant the words and then the translation, and then you can hear the purport. Gargat Shinihi Tato Gargyaha Gargachinistato Gargyaha. For those who are having mobile, the words you can open. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, 21st chapter. This is verse number 19. 19 and 20 are given together. We'll be only chanting 19. Verse number 19. So Bhagavatam, 9th canto, 21st verse, 19th verse. 21st chapter, 19th verse. 9:21:19. Bhagavatam. Gargat Shinihi Tato Gargyaha Gargachinistato Gargyaha Ksatra Brahma Hi Avartata Kshatrad Brahma Hyavartata Duritakshayo Mahaviryan Duritakshayo Mahaviryan Tasya Trayarunihi Kavihi Tasya Trayarunih Kavihi Gargachinistato Gargyaha Kshatrad Brahma Hyavartata Duritakshayo Mahavirya Tasya Trayarunih Kavihi. Gargachinistato Gargyaha Kshatrad Brahma Hyavartata Duritakshayo Mahaviryat Tasya Trayarunih Kavihi. Gargachinistato Gargya Kshatrad Brahma Hyavartata Duritakshayo Mahavirya Tasya Trayarunih Kavihi. Gargachinistato Gargyaha Kshatrad Brahma Hyavartata Duritakshayo Mahaviryat Tasya Trayarunih Kavihi. The 20th verse I'll read by myself together with the 19th verse. Pushkararunir iti atra ye brahmana gatim gataha brhakshatrasya putro bhut hasti yad hastinapuram. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation of both the verses given together, 19 and 20. From Garga came a son named Shini, and his son was Gargya. Although Gargya was a Kshatriya, there came from him a generation of Brahmanas. From Mahavirya came a son named Duritakshaya, whose sons were Trayaruni, Kavi, and Pushkararuni. Although these sons of Duritakshaya took birth in a dynasty of Kshatriyas, they too attained the position of Brahmanas. Bharatkshatra had a son named Hasti, who established the city of Hastinapura, now New Delhi. Please repeat this translation after me. From Garga came a son named Shini, and his son was Gargya. Although Gargya was a Kshatriya, there came from him a generation of Brahmanas. From Mahavirya came a son named Duritakshaya, whose sons were Trayaruni, Kavi, and Pushkararuni. Although these sons of Duritakshaya took birth in a dynasty of Kshatriyas, they too attained the position of Brahmanas. Bharatkshatra had a son named Hasti, who established the city of Hastinapura, now New Delhi. Text 21, I'll read by myself. Ajamidho dvimidhascha purumidhascha hastinaha ajamidhasya vamshasyu priyamedhadayo dvijaha. Translation. From King Hasti came three sons named Ajamidha, Dvimidha, and Purumidha. The descendants of Ajamidha, headed by Priyamedha, all achieved the position of Brahmanas. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This verse gives evidence confirming the statement of Bhagavad Gita that the orders of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, are calculated in terms of qualities and activities. Guna karma vibhagashaha. All the descendants of Ajamidha, who was a Kshatriya, became Brahmanas. This was certainly because of their qualities and activities. Similarly, sometimes the sons of Brahmanas or Kshatriyas become Vaishyas. Brahmana Vaishyatam gataha. When a Kshatriya or Brahmana adopts the occupation or duty of a Vaishya, Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam, he is certainly counted as a Vaishya. On the other hand, if one is born a Vaishya, by his activities he can become a Brahmana. This is confirmed by Narad Muni. Yasya yallakshanam proktam. The members of the Varnas or social orders, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, must be ascertained by their symptoms, not by birth. Birth is immaterial. Quality is essential. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitida Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So these three verses are establishing the descendants of a dynasty, the dynasty of Bharat Maharaj. So the descendants generally, if they are descendants of a Kshatriya, generally they'll also have Kshatriya qualities, Kshatriya symptoms. They'll be fit to perform activities of a Kshatriya according to their quality. But in rare cases, the son of a Kshatriya may have Brahmanical qualities, or the son of a Kshatriya may have Vaishya qualities. So, in such cases where the descendant does not have the qualities of the father or forefathers, then he is not counted among the Kshatriyas or Brahmanas, like that. So, this particular point is very, very important, especially in Kali Yuga. Former ages, there was no problem. There was no caste system in former ages. Only in this Kali Yuga, we have this degraded caste system. It's total degradation of human society, this caste system. Why? Why do I say it is a degraded system? Because the sacred Varnashrama system has been misunderstood, misapplied, abused, and exploited to artificially dominate one section of the society, dominates over the other sections of the society. You consider the case of a Brahmana who is very qualified. Naturally, he commands respect in the society because of his Brahmanical qualities. Not only because of his qualities, but because also of the service he gives to the society. If you try to understand what is the Vedic culture, which is not so much seen nowadays, though in our sacred land of Bharatvarsha, still some vestigial traces of this Varnashrama culture is remaining. So in a Vedic society, the Brahmanas render the highest service to the society. Why? Because of their qualification, because of training, because of education, and because of their activities. the most important necessity in the society of human beings especially is that people require direction, guidance to understand the goal of life. If they don't have guidance or direction for what is the goal of life, human form of life, then the default goal becomes sense enjoyment, sense gratification. This whole material world exists only for the sake of sense gratification. Why this material creation? It's only to facilitate sense gratification for the souls who are rebellious souls, who don't want to serve Krishna, who don't want to follow Krishna consciousness. For such rebellious souls, this whole material world is created. So this Varnashrama system is for rebellious souls. It is not required, neither it is present in the spiritual world. There is nothing like Varnashrama in the spiritual world. Spiritual world, everyone is a pure devotee of Krishna. Everyone. So the goal of Varnashrama is clearly explained in the scriptures. Varnashramacharvata purushena parapuman Vishnuraradhyate. The purpose of Varnashrama system is to bring everybody to the point of Vishnu Aradhana, worship of Vishnu, worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And why? Why is this required? Worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? To reinstate everybody in the position of devotee of Krishna, which everyone originally is. As spirit soul. You heard this many times. We are all spirit souls. We are not the body. So as spirit soul, what is our original position? Every one of us is a pure devotee of Krishna. Krishna, Vishnu, Vaishnava. Each one is a Vaishnava. But in the material world, because of our rebellious nature, we are against worship of Vishnu. We are against service to Krishna, devotional service to Krishna. So therefore, this Varnashrama system has been given by the Supreme Lord. Chaturvaranyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. Guna and karma. According to the guna and karma of every person, every human being, the Varnashrama system classifies the society, human society, civilized human society, into 4 social orders and 4 spiritual orders. 4 spiritual classes and 4 social classes. So the social classes are very prominent in Kali Yuga. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Now these classes, this classification is not based on birth according to the Varnashrama system given in the scriptures. It is not based on birth. Generally, the son of a Brahmana is born with Brahmanical qualities. Therefore, he displays the symptoms of a Brahmana. he is trained up as a Brahmana, he is educated as a Brahmana, he grows in a Brahmanical culture, and he acts like a Brahmana, he works like a Brahmana. That's a general case. But in exceptional cases, the son of a Brahmana may not have Brahmanical qualities. In which case, according to the qualities he has, he's identified, trained up, and educated, and grows up as a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra. And that depends on the qualities. So by birth, everybody is born with certain type of nature. This nature is foreign to us. It's not our original nature. Our original nature is spiritual nature, Krishna conscious nature, devotional nature. That's our original nature. But in this material world, we take birth, then we are forced to accept a foreign nature. What is that? Material nature. Material nature means three kinds of qualities are combined: sattvic quality, rajasic quality, and tamasic quality. And it's always a combination of these three qualities. Material quality means in the material world, there is no pure sattvic quality or pure sattva guna. There is no pure rajoguna. There is no pure tamoguna. Always a combination of these three. Why combination of these three? Because according to the desires of the living being to enjoy materially differently, different combinations of these gunas are awarded to a particular jiva. And according to the combination of this sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna, they get different forms of bodies. So there are 84 lakh species. 84 lakh species. These are described in the Padma Purana. 9 lakh varieties of aquatics. 20 lakh varieties of plants and trees. Then 20 lakh varieties of birds. 11 lakh varieties of worms and reptiles and all that. 4 lakh varieties of humans. 10 lakh varieties of animals. Like that. 84 lakh species. Now, when it comes to human beings, 4 lakh varieties are different combinations of the sattva guna, rajoguna, and tamoguna in different proportions. So these 4 lakh species of humans are distributed all over the universe in different planets. And those having the maximum proportion of sattva guna, they are in the topmost planet called Brahmaloka. And those having the least of sattva guna are in the bottommost planet, Patal Loka. Earth is in the middle. So we are on the Earth planet. Generally on the Earth planet, human beings are more rajasic than the human beings on the upper planets or the lower planets. Earth is counted among the middle planetary system. More rajasic. But Human means there is a characteristic feature of human being is that the developed intelligence of a human being is a very special feature by which a human being alone among all the other species of created beings, a human being alone can understand what is God. So this is irrespective of whether they are Rajasic or Tamasic or Sattvic humans, irrespective of that. So therefore, for human beings, whether they are Sattvic predominantly, Sattva Guna, or predominantly Rajoguna, predominantly Tamoguna, by their nature, acquired nature, they can be trained up to understand who am I, who is God, what is my relationship. And the Vedic system of this training is called Varnashrama Dharma. Varnashrama Dharma. So in Varnashrama Dharma, what happens is that a human being, according to the combination of these gunas with which any human being is born, if they are predominantly sattvic, then they are classified as brahmanas. This is a social classification based on the acquired quality. Quality means, as I said, combined influence of the three gunas, combination of sattva, raja, tama. Somebody is predominantly rajasic, then they are classified as kshatriya. Somebody is not having a predominant, predominantly they are tamasic, then they are classified as shudras. So three gunas, whichever is dominating, accordingly Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra. Vaishyas are in between Kshatriyas and Shudras, that they have a mixture of the influence, equal influence of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So they are classified as Vaishyas. Now these four classifications are for what purpose? The primary purpose is everyone should understand who am I, who is God, what is my relationship with God. And everyone should become a worshipper of Vishnu, a devotee of Vishnu. Everyone should understand their spiritual nature and therefore their spiritual identity. It is meant for getting us out of this misconception that I am the body, or my nature is based on my bodily qualities. Body, I mean not just the gross body, but the subtle body also. Body, mind, intelligence, ego system. Body means it's a complex covering for the soul. And that way there are four kinds of coverings. The covering of the false ego, ahankara, then the covering of the intelligence, material ego, material intelligence, material mind, and material, this body, gross body. So these four coverings is what we think we are. But we are none of these coverings. We are the soul within this body, within the four coverings. And soul means spiritual by nature, has nothing to do with these gunas, has nothing to do with material coverings or matter or the material world. So Varnashrama system is a scientific system by which, according to the acquired nature of the body, mind, intelligence, ego system, any human being can be trained up to understand, I am not this body, I am not the mind, I am not the intelligence, I am not the ego, I am spirit soul, aham brahmasmi. Everybody can be trained up. But the vitiated caste system simply labels people according to the family in which they have taken birth as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, which is completely wrong, which is a misunderstanding of what the real purpose of this classification is. And thereby, it is simply used for domination of one section of the society over another. Just like in the Vedic society, the Brahmanas give the highest service, that they give direction to the society, that the goal of human life is self-realization, not sense gratification. And the Brahmanas are ideal persons who live according to this particular understanding, set an example for the rest of the society by living a life dedicated for self-realization and teaching others by their personal example. Now, where are such Brahmanas in Kali Yuga? There are, but very rare to find. Mostly people who claim I am a Brahmana are actually not living according to this particular standard in the Varnashrama society. A Brahmana keeps himself in a poverty-stricken condition. Why? Because in this material world, this money or any form of wealth, material wealth, is simply a botheration for self-realization. It's simply a big obstacle for self-realization. Because when one becomes busy earning money, or after earning money, busy securing it or spending it, then the whole business of self-realization is completely spoiled. It's simply spoiled. It's a waste of time. Either working for earning money or securing that wealth that has been acquired or spending that wealth. So Brahmanas are free from all these three pursuits of human society. Brahmanas never work for earning money. They don't accumulate any wealth. According to Shastras, Brahmanas should be given dana, charity. What is called as charity, that itself is a term which is misunderstood. Charity, dana. Dana should be given to a Brahmana because a Brahmana never works for his maintenance or for his livelihood. No. He gives the highest service to the society completely free of charge. He considers it his duty, his responsibility, his dharma to guide everyone in the society, everyone else in the society, that you are a human being, your goal of life is self-realization, you are spirit soul, you are not the body, you are eternal, you belong to Krishna. So this knowledge, this understanding, this realization, the Brahmanas are meant to guide the society, to educate the society, to engage the other members of the society in this activity of self-realization. So it's the Brahmana who should actually designate or classify or identify who is born with what qualities, because only a Brahmana can do it properly. So formally what used to happen, generally, or no, always in the Vedic times, a Brahmana will act as a teacher, as a guru, as a guide. So any child which, when it starts speaking, it asks so many questions from the parents. And parents, initially, they are very excited. Oh, my child has started speaking. Oh, speaking so nicely. And then when it starts asking some meaningful questions, parents say, oh, my child is very, very intelligent. What we don't know is, in our ignorance, we think, oh, my child is very intelligent. Actually, a child born in the worst kind of slum, to parents who are totally illiterate and ignorant, that child also will exactly ask questions from its parents because of the human birth. You don't find such questioning among the birds, the animals, the insects. Don't think they cannot communicate by talking. They have their language and they also communicate. But the scriptures explain their communication or their speaking or their asking, inquiring is only about four things. The four fundamental necessities of this material body: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's all. So all their inquiries, their communication, their pursuit is only limited to these four things. So there is one verse in the Hitopadesha which says, if a human being also simply is engaged in these four activities, ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunam cha, samanyam etat pashubhi naranam. These are four common activities for animals and the human beings. But if a human being is restricting himself or herself to these four activities, then human being is no better than an animal. And that is very mildly put in the Hitopadesha, that if one does not take to self-realization, spiritual inquiry, Brahma Jignasa, or Atma Vidya, or Brahma Vidya, then one's human life is spoiled, it's wasted. But in the Bhagavatam, the same thing is said, Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke. If somebody's conception of who they are is that I am this body, then they are no better than a cow or an ass. So eva gokharaha. Bhagavatam is very, very strong in this regard. It straight away says a human being is not a human being if such a human being considers I am the body and lives a life based on this misconception. Unfortunately, in our so-called modern advanced society of human beings, present day society, practically 99.9% of the people, unless they are educated otherwise, their only understanding is I am the body. And whole life they live like that, so they are living like animals. So where is question of varnashrama dharma among animals? Varnashrama dharma is not meant for animals. It's not even possible to institute varnashrama dharma among uncivilized human beings, the aborigines, the tribals. What distinguishes civilized people, human beings, from uncivilized human beings? Civilized human beings understand there is a higher purpose in life than simply eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. There's a higher purpose to life. And the symptom of civilized human being is that they inquire, what is this higher purpose of life? What is this higher purpose? And that inquiry begins when somebody is born as a human being. That inquiry begins by birth. But unfortunately, if they are not guided properly, then they grow up to be animals. That's all. But even if they grow up to be animals, as they become more mature, and they become adults, then if they are already carrying forward a spiritual culture, spiritual development from their previous life, they will never settle down for this animalistic way of life. If they have begun their spiritual life in a previous life, they have begun spiritual activity, spiritual inquiry, then they will continue from where they left off, at least when they become adults. Because then they have got independence. Till they become an adult, they don't have independence. So they simply follow whatever they are taught, or whatever guidance they get, or whatever others are doing around them, like that. Once they become mature adults, then they have freedom of thought. That becomes prominent. And then, if they have got spiritual culture from their past life or past lives, then they continue to inquire. They don't live like animals. So then they are sometimes classified as rebels in society. They're classified as rebels. Sometimes some boy joins ISKCON. The parents will say, till he came in touch with Krishna consciousness, he was such a nice boy, very obedient, very faithful to the parents. But he went to ISKCON and they did something, they brainwashed him. And they spoiled his mind. Now he doesn't listen to his parents. They never tell in what aspect has he become against the parents. Only in the aspect of Krishna consciousness. Not in any other way he's gone against the parents. But they will never say that. They'll say, oh, now he has become very bad. He's become unruly. He's rebellious. He's badly behaved. He has no respect for elders. So many complaints. What the parents don't realize also many times is that this child has taken birth in our family. It has got a history, previous life, previous samskara. That spiritual culture or samskara will continue in this life, irrespective of what the parents might have trained, or what the parents might have had a tradition or culture or custom. It doesn't matter. So such a spiritually conscious or advanced child grows up to be an inquisitive transcendentalist. And that's described in the 6th chapter by Krishna. An inquisitive transcendentalist is above the considerations of this family in which he or she is born, the tradition, the culture, the upbringing, the education, above all that. And such a transcendentalist will straight away take to spiritual life and not follow the materialistic way of life. And it's unfortunate sometimes that such a transcendentalist takes birth in the family of materialistic persons, just like Prahlad Maharaj. He was born to an Asura father, Hiranyakashipu, and totally opposite qualities, divine and demoniac nature, totally opposite. So that is very unfortunate. Of course, in the case of Prahlad, it was Lord's arrangement that sometimes to deliver a Asura or a sinful person, the Lord arranges that a devotee takes birth in such a family. And that devotee will deliver not only the parents or the family in which the devotee has taken birth, deliver 21 generations of forefathers. 21 generations. So this is actually the good fortune of parents whose children become devotees. But so the values are all misplaced. So parents are also misled into thinking that my son could have been a good professional, a good scientist, or a good engineer, or a doctor, or whatever. His life is spoiled. He's become a devotee, and he is now good for nothing. He's a parasite in society, and he's wasting his time. He's brought disrepute to his parents, like that. So a similar thing happens in the case of caste system, that somebody is born in a Brahmin family but has got the qualities, acquired nature of a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra. How much ever the parents try to train him to be a Brahmana, they can never succeed, except if the boy takes to Krishna consciousness. Then it's a different matter. By Krishna consciousness, anyone can become qualified Brahmana and even greater, a devotee. A devotee is higher than Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, above the Varnashrama. But if they don't take to Krishna consciousness, then according to their acquired nature, they will act, they will have symptoms, they'll have inclination of a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra, according to their acquired nature. So that's no fault of theirs. Even though the parents may try to train or educate or guide that way, it's never going to work. And similarly, somebody with Brahminical quality or nature, acquired nature, is born in a Shudra family. How much ever the Shudra parents will try, the child should take up our own profession. Shudras are very proud of their profession. Generally, parents are proud of their particular tradition, culture, profession, etc. But the Shudras are the ones who are most proud of their, as if they are the highest in society. Because they have this inferiority complex. We belong to a very low section of the society. We do menial work. We can't work like a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Brahmana. So they have this inferiority complex, and because of that, generally the tendency is to consider themselves as the most superior section of people in the society. They think the whole society is running only because of their contribution in terms of whatever their skill or menial work they do. Otherwise, they think the whole society will collapse. But that is also changing now with mechanization and technology. So we are no longer dependent on the menial labor of the Shudras. That dependence is coming down. But that dependence is coming down in another way. What is this machine doing? Machine is making a Brahmana into a Shudra. Because what will this Brahmana do if he doesn't have labor? He will start using the machine and himself become like a Shudra. A machine operator is a Shudra. If a Brahmana doesn't do Brahminical work of studying the scriptures, understanding who am I, what is the goal of life, and instead becomes a smart machine operator, and that's what big companies are doing. They're recruiting this intelligent Brahminical quality persons for doing their Shudra work. machine operators. Machine operators. Intelligent machine operators they want. Because the machines are very complex. So unless Brahmanical brain is there, this machine operation is also not easy. But even if they use their Brahmanical intelligence for operating complex machines, the work they are doing is Shudra work. Machine operator is Shudra's job. Only a Shudra can do it. That's why sometimes I've seen this. When I was working in US as a software engineer, the work I was doing, I was seeing among some of the American colleagues that I was working with, they were not at all having that Brahmanical kind of intelligence, because by their habits, by their thinking, they're all Shudras. That's what they are. That's their nature, and that's how they've been brought up. They are meat eaters. They are drunkards. But they are software engineers. So in the society, there's an artificial respect system for these so-called software engineers, because the way they dress, the way they talk, the kind of job they do, they don't dirty their hands on the shop floor in car factories. They are working in an air-conditioned office. So these people, we as Indians, even though we are meant to do something better than just be machine operators, we go to America, and that complex machine called computer, we learn how to operate it, how to write some software for making it work for some business, and then we get huge amounts of money, and that brings to a middle-class family or a poverty-stricken Indian, that brings a lot of respect and socially respectable position in society. Everything changes. You see, the whole system is completely skewed. See, what the modern civilization is doing is that because of this labor problem, they are figuring out technology to replace labor with machines, and these machines are becoming more and more complicated. More and more complicated. So to operate the machines, to work on the machines, to design the machines, you require Brahmanas, those with Brahmanical intelligence. Only they can do it, such complex design and complex operations. And then when they start doing that, they have no time for studying scriptures, for understanding what is the goal of life. You know, they may have the inclination, but they have no time. And gradually, as they become more accustomed to that mechanical way of life, then they forget everything about their culture, their basic quest within the heart, everything they forget. So it's a very precarious condition of society today. Even if by birth somebody's acquired nature is that of a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, the work they do, the way they live is like that of a Shudra. It may be hurting to hear this, but it's a fact. That's what we are reduced to. Even though by birth or by acquired nature, we may not be a Shudra. As I said, even somebody is born in a Shudra family, when the inquisitiveness of the human acquired nature is properly directed to Brahma Jignasa, then that child will grow up to be a first-class devotee. The child will grow up to be a first-class devotee, irrespective of what the acquired nature is. And that is what Prabhupada did. He went all over the world and simply taught people who are ready to accept. Chant Hare Krishna. By chanting Hare Krishna, what happens? The innate spiritual nature is immediately awakened. Then whether somebody is a Chandala, lower than a Shudra, uncivilized person, human being, human body, but intelligence and mind and ego works like a Chandala, a uncivilized, asamskruta person. Even Shudras are supposed to be following samskara in the Vedic society. A Shudra is samskruta, nara, a civilized human being, Shudra also. If you examine the qualifications and the characteristics of Shudra described in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, you'll find so many so-called Brahmanas in Kali Yuga don't even fit it into the Shudra category according to the descriptions in the 7th canto. Don't even fit into Shudra category. Simple thing. A Shudra may be, a meat eater may be classified as a Shudra, but actually a meat eater is not a Shudra if he eats meat without performing sacrifice, animal sacrifice. Shudra means, yes, he eats meat, but he eats meat after it is offered in sacrifice. He knows, if I eat animal flesh which is not offered in sacrifice, I'll go to hell, because I'll be committing the worst kind of sin, the kind of sin which the result of that sinful reaction will be I go to hell in my next life. I'll be punished in hell for animal killing, innocent animal killing. So by this classification, by this characteristic, people who are meat eaters, if they don't do sacrifice, which most people don't do, so they're not even Shudras, they are Chandalas. It's very hurting to hear this, but this is the fact. You see? So therefore, the only hope for modern society is this chanting of Hare Krishna, which doesn't require any qualification, which doesn't require any skill, which doesn't require any particular acquired nature, which doesn't require any education. No. You got a tongue, you just vibrate the tongue and say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Not only those who are Chandalas can become first-class devotees, but even those who are Shudras by acquired nature, or have become Shudras by working like a Shudra, even though they have got Brahmanical qualities, or Kshatriya qualities, acquired nature, or Vaishya qualities. Still, anybody, whatever their background, whatever their nature, whatever their work, whatever their tradition, whatever their upbringing, irrespective of that, if they chant Hare Krishna and under proper guidance of the pure devotee Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, they practice Bhakti Yoga, then they can become first-class devotees, greater than the best of Brahmanas. Dvija Shrestha. Dvija means Brahmana. So Dvija Shrestha means a Brahmana Vaishnava, a devotee. A devotee is a Brahmana Vaishnava. He is the topmost among Brahmanas. He is above the Brahmanical position, the best of the Brahmins. So that is open for everyone, all human beings. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened it even for the animals, but Prabhupada says we can't preach to animals. We can preach to human beings. So human beings, it is open, all human beings all over the world. The chant Hare Krishna, that's the beginning, and then follow the other simple principles of Krishna consciousness as taught by Prabhupada under proper guidance, and become first-class devotees, and your life is successful. You will understand what the goal of life. You will also achieve that ultimate goal in this very lifetime. So that is what the Bhagavatam is aiming at. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Dantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.